You know, I think black people as a whole, we do suffer from self hatred. And I will admit that. And you see that through how we treat each other and how we treat ourselves. You know, we're so ready to fight and kill another black person over the smallest things. You know, you looked at me wrong, or you stepped on my shoes, or you cut me off. You know, you disrespected my mama. You know, we're ready to go to war with each other over small petty things. This is my block. I'm the top drug dealer in this neighborhood. You know, and I do believe that this hatred of ourselves and each other definitely stems from slavery. First of all, I got to say, slavery was not based off of racism. For those who want to believe that it did, it doesn't. Slavery was based off of economic reasons. It was business. I hate to say it. If you think about it, well, first of all, I heard that they tried to enslave. Well, they had the indentured servants, which I'm sure it was easy to escape and blend in with society. You're white, nobody's really looking at you. You look like everybody else. I'm sure it was easy for indentured servants to escape. Native Americans, I think they tried to enslave the Native Americans, but the Native Americans knew the land, so they could escape easily. Africans, however, they don't look white, so they can't blend in. They don't know the land. They don't know the language of the land. They made a perfect slave for those reasons. Once again, it was economic. It wasn't racism. I think it became race based. You got to understand, owning slaves cut out a lot of jobs for other Caucasians, which made those Caucasians poor with the lack of jobs. They couldn't farm. They couldn't be maids. They couldn't tend to the house because somebody owned slaves. And in order to, make these poor white people not riot because they couldn't get paid for work, they brainwashed the other white people, the poor white people, into believing that they were superior to blacks in order to make them feel better about their situations of unemployment. It's common sense. So they got these white people, gathered them all together. Hey, you're white. You're better than these people. Well, there weren't people back in the day. Our property, these slaves. Then comes the racism effect into slavery. Now you got the rich white people who brainwashed the poor white people into believing that they were better than the slaves. So they both joined forces and used that racism to make the slaves feel inferior. You got to understand what racism is all about. Um, so that inferiority complex, it affected all the slaves to whereas they hated themselves because they were seen as lesser than, and they hated each other. It's bullying. It was classic bullying. I think through generation after generation after generation, even though black people weren't slaves anymore, that inferiority complex still remains. It remains to this day. And that's why, there's so much hatred between black people. A black person will kill a black person before they kill a white person any day of the week. Black people are actually inherently scared of white people. They might pretend to be big and bad around white people. Hell, they might fight them, they might beat them up, but they're inherently afraid of white people. That's why black people don't have any issues killing other black people faster than they kill white people. Of course, some black people kill white people. And I believe those are either out of racial tensions or economic reasons. And some of it is rape too, I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, black people hate each other due to the inferiority complex that they've had to deal with through slavery. I know you're going to say, "Oh, well, we're not slaves." I understand that. You're right. We aren't slaves. But that mentality, that inferiority complex was passed down from generation to generation to generation. Like the doll test, where they put the child with the white doll and the black doll, and the black child picked the white doll. It's a perfect example. And that's why there's so much self-hatred. And no, I'm not saying dating outside of your race is self-hatred. No, I'm not talking about that. That's completely unrelated. But yes, black people do suffer from self-hate, not in the way that you think self-hate is. The self-hatred is in the complete total lack of respect for other black people and the total lack of respect for themselves.